All right. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Grapevine Wellness Show. I see people are logging in. Thank you for coming. Make yourself at home. Just come in, settle in. I'm your host, Jolyn Armstrong. I'm just so glad you're here today. I do see some names logging in that I don't recognize. So welcome to those of you who I have not had the pleasure of meeting yet. I will tell you a little bit about me. Again, I'm Jolyn Armstrong. I'm your host. Let's see, how do I describe what I do? I help people navigate the most difficult times in life. And it's something that I just am really good at doing, I guess. And I very much enjoy doing that. And so I find it very fulfilling as well. You know, none of us want to have our lives disrupted or the rug pulled out from under us. But at one time or another, every one of us experiences something like that, right? And having someone like me with a set of skills that I have to help guide you through those times always makes it better. It makes the outcome better. It makes your experience through those difficult times a little bit easier. And it helps safeguard against emotional trauma, which is always my goal. When someone comes to me at the beginning of a difficult time in life, maybe they've just had a serious health diagnosis or are facing a separation or a divorce, something like that. If you've lost a loved one, any one of the probably hundreds of things that can go wrong in life, right? I'm able to help teach some skills, help guide, help you calm your nervous system during those events. If you found yourself coming through an event without a guide, without help, and you're finding yourself now on the other side of it with some symptoms of maybe some trauma, right? So shorter attention span, shorter fuse, right? Inability to deal with others in a way that you used to, difficulty at work or at home, things like that. And you're wondering if life is going to continue like this forever. I promise you, there is help out there. Reach out and let's work on some healing of that nervous system as well, okay? If you or a loved one feel like you need some support, you can always reach me at connect@grapevineinnerwellness.com. That's my email address. Or you can text or call 916-415-8619. Okay, let's get you on the schedule. Just have a chat, see if something working with someone like me might be helpful for you. Okay, that's a little bit about me. Let's talk about the show a little bit. Our mission on this show is to bring you meaningful conversations that offer hope and support, practical tools for navigating life's challenges. And today's episode is one that I find so inspiring for lots of personal reasons. And the best part about this is those who are here watching live get to interact with our guest and ask her questions after our interview. So be sure to stick around for that. If you have questions that come up during our conversation, you're welcome to put them in the Q&A box. You can find that at the bottom of your screen, and we'll answer them at the end of the show, okay? So I just am thrilled to share this inspiring conversation with you all, featuring my good friend, Keri Lowry. She's the founder of the M25 Initiative. Keri's story is really, well, you're going to hear it in a minute, but it is incredible. This story of resilience and faith and transformation, I just find so incredibly inspiring. After facing homelessness, addiction, hopelessness, herself, Keri has rebuilt her life into this beautiful life she has now and is now helping others to do the same. So if you have ever wondered how lives are actually rebuilt, what that looks like, how hope is restored, or how you can make an impact in your community, you are in the right place. All right. So, Keri, I am so honored to share this space with you. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Jolene. I really appreciate you having me here. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Yeah, of course. I've been looking forward to this. I shared a little bit about you in my introduction, but can you kind of fill in the blanks, share a little bit about who you are? Let us get to know you a little bit.
course. So let me start off by saying that I plan to be very transparent on the show, but I am telling you all my story in hopes that I can help someone else. We all have a story, and we were all created for a purpose, and sometimes our story becomes part of our purpose.
Mhm.
So if I hit a nerve with any of you, or you feel like you can relate in any way, or you feel like there's no hope, believe me, there is hope. So I encourage you not to give up and to reach out for help. So a little bit about me. I've lived here in Reno for almost 16 years. I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee, and I came here with my two daughters when they were 4 and 6 years old. Um, I'm now a grandmother of a 3.5-year-old and almost 2-year old. I know, my beautiful little princesses. I love them so much. Um, they tell you that you would kill for your kids. Well, it's a different kind of murder with your grandbabies. Like you would just
Uh,
grandbabies. They're just precious. So I'm a business owner, an entrepreneur. I also own Keri Consulting. I provide health insurance solutions. I use my health insurance company to fund my nonprofit.
Good for you.
I have over 16 years in healthcare. I do a lot of educational presentations about like navigating Medicare, preparing for aging. I love educating and I love advocating for people. I have a background in working with our aging and disabled population and EMS. Um, and I started the M25 Initiative mid last year, and we launched in November of 2024. So that was pretty exciting. Um, and so I'd like to share just a little bit about M25's mission and vision, who we serve. Um, and so the M25 Initiative is to serve those in need. Um, with compassion, of course, and inclusivity. We empower individuals being reintegrated into the community from homelessness, incarceration, and rehab, helping them discover their purpose by educating them and providing them tools and mentorship and resources and support services that are necessary to help rebuild their lives and be successful.
Mm.
And I love our vision because our vision is to guide those who feel lost towards a path of hope and purpose by serving with compassion and love, regardless of their beliefs, identity, their past actions, or their current circumstances. So when I started M25 Initiative, it wasn't something that I was looking to do or that I even planned on doing. I was already busy enough, but I felt really called to it. And I felt like God spoke to me and said, "This is what you're going to do." And He put a map in my head and said, "This is how you're going to do it." And I swear to you, like nothing has ever been easier and more. I'm not gonna say easier because it hasn't been easy, but it's never been clearer for me that like this is definitely something that I feel like is my purpose.
Yeah.
So
Even difficult things tend to flow easier when you know this is where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. I love that. And I want to learn more about the M25 initiative. I think, yeah, there's lots of details that I want to dig into. But first, I'd love to focus back on you and your journey a little bit if we can dig a little bit deeper there.
yeah. So I love telling my story, but this is the first time I've ever shared it. I recorded live for the world to see. So bear
Keri,
with
we're
me.
all friends here. We are all
I know.
friends here. Yeah.
I love it. I'm so glad that I get the opportunity to do this. But I feel like because of my journey, I can help other individuals. Because I also once was homeless after a divorce. I got divorced several years ago, and here in Reno, and I went back to Tennessee. to start over and be with my family. That didn't last very long. But in the midst of doing that, I was taking prescription Adderall. It was like the generic form of Adderall, and I was abusing it. I wasn't taking it probably like I was supposed to. And then, you drink on top of that, and then you smoke pot on top of that. And then it was just a recipe for disaster. So I ran out of my prescription medications shortly after moving back to Tennessee. Um, and I didn't have health insurance. I didn't know how to get the medications there. And so I just, it was like a spiral downwards. And I got really, really depressed. And I ended up attempting suicide. I had some leftover antidepressant medications and some other medications. Luckily, I don't take anything anymore, but thank goodness. But I am a research nerd, and because of my history in EMS, and as a med tech for a senior living, I know medications. I know what they do to you. I know the side effects. I know what happens if you take too many. So I literally researched what would happen if you took too many of these and how much is enough to end your life. I knew exactly what would happen to my body and my organs shutting down and how long that would take. And I waited for my kids to go to school, and they were in high school, freshman and sophomore. And I took a handful of that mixture, and about 10 minutes later, I realized that that was a mistake, and I rushed myself to the ER. And our closest ER was probably about 20 minutes away from where I was, so I knew time was not on my side. I had to hurry, and I don't really remember much else after checking in. I woke up several days later with a tube in my nose, and they were sending me to an inpatient facility, and trying to give me more meds and telling me everything that's wrong with me.
Oh, I'm so grateful that you made it, though, that you made it to the ER. Oh.
Yeah, me too. I'm extremely grateful. My kids had to see me like that too. They ended up visiting me at the hospital when I was in a coma. And what they told me probably that changed me. It was devastating, them having to see me like that. I've never been a super depressed person like that. Never had attempted anything, but that was a breaking point for me. I felt like not only a failure in marriage, but I felt like I was failing my kids. And after that whole incident, it didn't work out, living back with my family members that were in Tennessee. So we started living at the shelter. And, my girls and I raised them going to the homeless shelter here on 4th Street in Reno and giving them food and, serving them. We've served with Gospel Mission. We've cooked food for the fish in Carson City for the homeless. We were on the other side of things, but we were never on that side of things. Mm-hmm. And so that was a really humbling experience. But a few months later, I had had enough, and I sold everything that I had brought back with me to Tennessee. It was literally just like my truck and a U-Haul and my girls that I brought back to Tennessee after my divorce, and I sold everything to come back to Reno. Reno was like my safe haven. I had created a family here, a support system that is still here and supports me to this day. And my friends took me in, and all we had was a suitcase each. So one suitcase for me and one suitcase each for my kids. and we didn't even have a can opener.
Oh.
And we had to start all over. And we lived with our friends for a little while, and we were able to get back into our place and everything. But that was a really trying time for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, I can thank you for being so open about that, Keri. And I,
I'm having a hard time breathing because like
oh,
it's
yeah,
bringing up a
take a
lot of
moment. I feel
yeah,
like we could all probably use a moment after that story, right? And you tell it with just such a brave face, right? It's history for you. You came through this and you're here now and you're telling this story in this space that you're in now. But
right.
um, I'm wondering, maybe we can backstep a little bit and talk about, you've mentioned this a little bit here and there, the faith that you have, and God has put you where you are now. And maybe let's talk about your faith's role in kind of your turning point. Can we talk about that a
Of
little bit?
course.
Mhm.
So I'm going to start kind of towards the beginning,
Mhm.
because that has a really big role to play in all of this.
Yeah.
But so life wasn't always easy for us growing up. It was my mom, me, and my brother. My dad passed away when I was 9 months old.
Mhm.
We were from a very Roman Catholic family on my mom's side. And, everybody went to church on Sunday morning and kind of the song, play poker on Saturday night, go to church on Sunday morning. That was my family. Yep.
I know the song, yeah.
And so, it was hard for my mom as a widow. And when we got older, I was probably about 12 years old when she remarried. My stepdad that helped raise me. And he was a wonderful human being. But unfortunately, when I was having my daughter, he also passed away. So I've had two fathers
Mm.
uh, pass away on me. And so I didn't have that father figure growing up. And so when I was a teenager, I did what most girls with daddy issues do. And I partied and I hung out with the wrong crowd and I did drugs. And it was, I, completely like against authority. And
Understandable,
so
yeah.
it was I was a very rebellious teenager. Um, but I met my kid's father. Um, so let me back up. I left the church when I was about 16. Um, and I had left the church for probably a good solid 10 years. And as a Catholic, and I'm not trying to offend anyone listening, but from my experience, I went to Catholic school for a few years. And like I said, I grew up in the Catholic Church, but I never knew about God's love and grace. And
Mm. Yeah.
um, it was always very, he's watching you and he's going to condemn you and you're bad and all this kind of stuff. That was my view of God. But in 19 I met my kid's father, who's never really been much in the picture for their whole existence. But when I was graduating cosmetology school out of high school, I got pregnant with my oldest daughter, who's 22 now, and him and I moved in together, and he was extremely abusive. I really liked him because of the party style, the tough bad boy, all that good stuff. He was a complete atheist. Um, and so he became like dangerously abusive and he tried to kill me several times. I think my mom even overheard me talking to him on the phone one time when he was begging me to come back. And I said, you tried stabbing me. And she just kind of like, what? Yeah. So, I've had a gun put to my head and it was awful. It was a nightmare. It was an absolute
I'm
nightmare.
sorry. Wow.
And there were several times that I didn't think I was going to make it out of it. And I think that's what really kind of brought me back to my faith is I remember when my girls were like 4 and 5. So right before moving here, Um, One night we had went out and he had gotten drunk and came home, and we were just constantly fighting and yelling. And he threw a salt shaker across the room, like a little glass salt shaker
Mhm.
across the room, and like knocked the wind out of me because he threw it so hard.
Oh,
And my girls still remember that to this day. It made like a lasting impact on them, and they will never forget it. I went in the kitchen and I started crying, and I was on my knees, and I was like, God, like if you're there, um, make him disappear out of my life, like fall off the face of the earth. I don't care what you do to this man, but like I'm going to die. Like I was
yeah.
fearful of my life, my kid's life. Um, and I worked at the hospital in the ER in Bowling Green, Kentucky at the time. And I worked from like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And when I get home, I'd take my oldest daughter to kindergarten, and he would watch the littlest one. And I woke up to after going to sleep while my daughter was in school, and um, I go outside and he's drinking Jaeger from the bottle, and my daughter is just like getting like roughhoused by some neighbor's dog, and like she's terrified, and she's barely 4 at the time. And I was like, you know what? I had started going to church then and everything, but I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take my daughter. We're going to go get my other daughter, and we're going to go to Chuck E. Cheese for a little while. We were there until they probably closed that night because I just didn't want to go home. I was terrified. And when I did get home, police were all over my street. There were cop cars and lights and sirens everywhere. And I was like, what did he do? It was only him that could have done something. And I mean, this is a quiet little town in Bowling Green, Kentucky, you know?
Mhm.
And he had tried to rob my neighbor's house. And the police had already taken him before I got there. And I cried out. And that was like the moment that I was like, God, thank you. This was literally the next day after asking God to take him
Yeah.
from my life, make him fall off the face of the earth. He did for about 2 years. He went to prison, and that gave me enough time to escape. And
Yeah.
that's all I needed. I needed time and a way to escape. And
That's beautiful. Oh, I love that story so much.
I came out to Reno. I started going to church here. I got plugged right away into church, and I was so grateful that God saved our lives. And I knew that He had a plan for me, for my kids, that we were created so much more than for that life. Um, but I had gotten married when I came to Reno with somebody else who gave us a beautiful life. He we had a great life with kids and everything, but him and I just weren't very compatible. So we ended up getting a divorce almost 10 years later. And my kids were teenagers. So we were involved in church, and like faith was huge. Like I had to live and breathe Jesus. Like it was
Yeah.
the only thing that kept me going. Um, uh, but after we got divorced is when I kind of like, you go through these traumatic things and you just lose sight. Um, but I was able, because I had my own business at that time and everything. When we decided to divorce, I not only had to give up my home, uh, the life that we built, my ex-husband, the financial piece of it, and my business. I had to give my business up, which was probably harder for me than giving up the husband at the
Well, I
time.
mean, this is, yeah, loss upon loss upon loss for you. These start
Yeah,
to stack up, and
yeah,
this
it
is
was a
where that kind of
storm.
hurricane comes. Yeah,
Yeah,
for reals. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
All these losses.
all of it. And so um, after everything that happened, and me attempting suicide and everything, I felt like a failure. Like I lost everything. It was my fault. And it was just like, how is God going to forgive me and my kids forgive me and my family forgive me? Um, and I felt so shameful. And coming back to Reno was a great thing. But I was also like this with my friends that were here, like, don't look at me, look what I did. And it was just all about like, I'm the one who failed. I'm the one who did this. I caused these things to happen. And I'm ashamed. And I know that's not true now, but
Good.
at the
Good.
time, that was my reality.
Sure. And if I can just interject, Keri, this happens to many of us who go through things like this. We start just spiraling downwards with the shame and blaming ourselves and thinking all of the things that aren't true. And yeah, so yeah, tell us how did you turn this around? What happened? What took you from this to sharing your
Yeah.
story?
So I got remarried, but my now husband, Andrew, um, he
Hi,
reached
Andrew.
out. Yeah. He reached out to me because we've been friends prior to this for years. And he was like, "Hey, you're back in Reno." So I swear, like, God put him in my life as my person, like, definitely. And even though he's been kind of like resistant to some of the things that have been going on in my life, like, he's been so supportive and just, he's been there for me. He's been a rock.
Mm.
And
Okay, I like him. I like him.
but so after we got married, and we survived my kids being teenagers, and oh my gosh,
Congrats.
and after all the trauma that they went through, on top of everything that I was going through, um, and then they had their own things going on. That was pretty difficult. The thing it was I felt like there was a heart change once they kind of got to 18, 19 years old, and Andrew was still there a few years later, and I was like, oh, he's not leaving, because you have to. So let me just explain this to you guys. My dad died. My stepdad died. My and I have a great stepfather now. His name, we call him Papa,
Hi,
and
Papa.
he's the best Papa in the whole world.
Good.
But um, my kid's father
Mhm.
left. He was no good. My ex-husband left. All the men in our lives
Yeah.
left. And so there was no one for us to look up to. And it was really hard for me to trust that Andrew was going to stick around. And, especially when you're raising two difficult teenagers that have also been through trauma,
Yeah.
it was really, really, really hard. But after that heart change and realizing he's still around, God is still there. He's helped me get through these things, and he's been faithful, even though I haven't been. Then the things didn't matter anymore. It was the zip code that I lived in. My big home with my ex-husband didn't matter. The toys didn't matter anymore. The clothes I wore, the friends that I had at the time that no longer wanted to be my friend after my divorce,
Mhm.
or that I didn't own my own business anymore at that time, like, none of that mattered anymore. Being intentional about my relationships
Yeah.
and doing what God created me to do is what mattered. It
Mm.
was like a light bulb in my head that was just like, why are you chasing all of these things? Why are you trying to appease everybody else, and the looks, and the status, and all of this? Like, it doesn't matter. None of it does. And I realized once I got rid of those things, the people that didn't bring me life also disappeared. And it felt so freeing. It was just like this weight that was just lifted off of me. And And it was like, it didn't matter if I didn't have anything anymore. It didn't matter if I didn't have a can opener. I would figure it out and
That's
find
right.
something to open up that damn can. Like, it
You
didn't.
had the important things, right? And a opener evidently wasn't one of them.
Yeah, it was the relationships, the love, the people that were like standing by my side and saying, like, yeah, it's difficult, but we're here.
Yeah.
And I love this quote from Jim Elliot. He was a missionary back in the days. And he said, he is no fool who gives up what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose. And that is like the true picture of faith, because all of the stuff on earth is just
Good stuff.
stuff. But those relationships that we create, those people that are in our lives, those people that support us and stick with us, that's what matters.
Hmm.
And so,
I love that.
yeah, it took a while, but finally starting to realize that it was a total game changer for me, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Oh, I love that that kind of was revealed to you, right? And wow, that's beautiful. And by the way, Keri, I just see even in telling that, like your whole countenance changes and it's so
Yeah.
beautiful. I love that for you so much.
My old psychiatrist used to tell me when I did take the medications that when I would talk about my past and my kid's father, my blood pressure would go up and my heart rate would go up. It was like
Um,
a physiological change in my body.
yeah.
And so literally that's what happens to us when
Hmm.
we're going through trauma. Like it
Yes.
physiologically changes us down to the cell. Like,
Yep.
but when good stuff happens, when we start realizing the good that we're doing or that other people are doing for us, or that there is actually good and hope in this world, like it changes us.
That changes us too in such a beautiful way. Yeah.
Like,
Yep. So you bring more of that in your life and keep it in your life and focus your energy and your whole heart on that.
that's
Yeah.
right. Hmm.
Ah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So you've mentioned a couple of times when you came to Reno, you got plugged into church right away. Let's talk about maybe some nitty-gritty a little bit here. When you made that decision to turn your life around, right? Let's talk about those steps that you took. What helped you the most in the early days? And yeah, what did that look like for you?
Okay. So I feel like surrounding myself with people that I wanted to be like,
Mhm.
that had the faith like I wanted to have, that had, and not necessarily the things, but like the success in their life,
Mhm.
the relationships, the the attitudes, and how people saw them.
Mhm.
I surrounded myself with those people. I just started writing down affirmations. I do a lot of reading, or I should say audiobooks. Reading makes me
Listening.
go right to sleep. But I do a lot of audiobooks and podcasts and stuff. And if it's not listening to like plans from the Bible or, things like that, it's people that are like faith-based
Mhm.
and just successful people. And so I started writing down those affirmations. I would even put them on post-it notes and put them on my girls' mirrors. So when they would walk in the bathroom, they would see things like, you are worthy, you matter, you are beautiful, you are loved.
Ah,
And then I wrote at the top of my mirror, I am grateful for, dot, 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 with a dry erase marker.
nice. Nice.
Forced me to think about even the small things that I'm grateful for, even if I had a really, really, really hard day and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I would go in the bathroom and I'd see that and I'd say, okay, what am I grateful for? And
Yep.
I would just start thinking it, even if I didn't say it out loud. And my girls still to this day will tell me like those affirmations were really meaningful and changed them in the way that they looked at themselves, even though it may not have did it right then in that moment. It stuck with them. It was in their subconscious.
Hmm.
Um, but prompting myself daily with the gratitude and the affirmations and then just listening to those other successful people, putting myself in their path and just learning from them and listening. I feel like that is really what helped set me on that trajectory of, you can do this too. You can do hard things too. And
Yeah.
most of the people that, I have as mentors in my life also went through really, really difficult things. And it's incredible, like the people that are the most successful in their lives, whether it's with their relationships or their careers, they also had to go through some pretty hard times. So that was really encouraging to me.
Oh, I love that. So it sounds like, um, dang it, it's not something you can do once, right? You were surrounding yourself with people who inspired you. You were
Daily.
doing things every day, every single day for your
Well, I
mind.
mean, like even in the Bible, like God says, pick up your cup every day. Pick up your bed and walk every single day. We have to pick it up. We've got to um, every morning. I even do it on my phone now. First thing in the morning when I look at my phone, I don't look at emails or text messages or my schedule or anything like that anymore. I look at the Bible verse of the day. It
There you go.
fills me and it gives me, it like puts that armor on me so that I can face whatever comes
Mm-mm.
at me that day.
I love that. I love that so much. That's how you're such a strong woman. Of course. I love that. I love that. Well, maybe we can talk. Um, I want to address a little bit about kind of the generational struggles that you've mentioned a little bit throughout our time together. Generational struggles with things like addiction, incarceration, those kinds of things. Let's talk about how that impacts families and um, what that has looked like in your life and how has that informed what you're doing now?
Absolutely. So, us as parents, we are the most influential people in our children's lives, right? I've seen it with my kids and my grandkids, um, and we're their mentors. They mimic us.
Yes,
They
they
either want
do.
to exactly like us or not like us at all, right?
Yes, yes.
So if we aren't feeding them and loving them and enriching their lives and teaching them life skills that are imperative to their survival and success, unfortunately, they're going to seek other ways to fill those holes and those gaps. And a lot of times, those things aren't so life giving, you know. So my goal is I want parents to be able to influence their children in positive ways. I want them to be their mentors. Sometimes when parents are making those poor decisions, poor life choices, maybe they just don't know. You don't know what you don't know until you know it, right? That's like my
Right.
favorite saying.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes they're just depressed. They're drowning in their own sorrows. They're working all the time just to pay the bills, and they're just not there to be able to pour into their kids.
Sure.
I know how devastating that can be.
Same.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, seeing my own kids struggle because of the decisions that I made was really hard for me. So, the M25 Initiative is already partnering with and has many more partners in the works in our local area that focus on serving the at risk youth so that we can also serve the parents so that when they go home, they're not in these toxic environments. And I want to, of course,
Yeah.
I can't save everybody and only Jesus can, but like I can't, I want to,
Yeah. No, I get it.
but
I get
they
it.
have to,
Yeah.
they have to want it for themselves, right?
Mhm.
But
And they have to
our
be ready for it too. It's you serve who's ready for it for sure.
exactly, and so our intention is just to be there to be able to serve them at their most basic needs, um, but also giving them that support and that mentorship to get them maybe out of the situation they're in, off of welfare, have them be successful in their careers and in their life and in their their parenting skills, whatever that looks like. Some of the parents that we serve don't even have their kids, they're in foster care. So the goal is to serve the parents so they can be successful in their lives, get their kids back, and then positively influence, the lives of their children, so that it creates this generational success instead of this generational toxicity and lack of and
decline. Yeah.
snowball of, yeah. So that's what we're working on, and like I said, I'm really excited what we've done so far, and where it's going, and the partnerships that we've already been creating, and it's pretty awesome.
That sounds so amazing. And I'm really excited to hear some of the details of that. Let me touch on one thing that's niggling for me, and then let's dive further into
Yeah.
um, what so many people that I talk to and people who have loved ones who are struggling, um, they feel like they have no way out. There's no hope. They truly are like feeling like they're in a hopeless situation. And I'm just wondering for you, like looking back in your life, what do you wish you had known then, right? That you know now. Yeah.
Hindsight is always 2020, right?
Right? I know. Well, and we're going to tap into your hindsight because you've been there and now you're here. And so, yep, that's part of this, Keri. Yeah.
Yeah. I tell my kids right now, I'm like, you are in such a beautiful prime spot at your age right now, in your early 20s, where, you can do so many great things to set yourself up for your future, and your family and everything. But I would have to say, I wish I I knew that there was hope. Like I believed in God, but um, I didn't really, it was like, he's distant. I still didn't have
He's a concept, not a reality.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I want people to know that like there is hope. And something that I wish I would have known is not to focus on my troubles that are right now and right here, but that this will pass and God will pull you out of that. And you can overcome these tough things and these challenges. And unfortunately, my late son-in-law, he didn't see it that way. He actually committed suicide when my daughter was 20 years old, and she was 5 months pregnant with her second child. They started early and had an early family, they were young and had a family early. And he was, he had the world ahead of him. Like he had his whole entire life. He was 20 years old. He was a talented football player, could have gone to any college he wanted to. He academically was smart, but he got mixed up in drugs and alcohol and started going to jail, and he became extremely abusive to my daughter and in front of my oldest grandbaby. And there's going to be some of that generational trauma, that ripple effect that leaks onto my grandbabies, and now they don't have a father. So unfortunately, we can relate in that situation. I hate to relate on something so traumatic, but I mean, it's also a good thing to be able to relate to them on that. But you get so focused on what is troubling you right now, and you can't see past that. There's like a wall. And sometimes we have to get through that wall to get to the other side. But getting through that wall is like the hardest thing sometimes, it feels like, that we could ever do in our life. But there is another side, and that's what I wish I would have known before I had attempted suicide and went through some of those struggles. But sometimes we have to go through it to be able to tell our stories like I am today, to be able to be better versions of ourselves, so that we can help others, right?
Yeah, and to be the kind of guide that you are for those that are coming behind you, right? So, yeah.
It'll, what people sometimes I think get caught up in is that it has to be perfect. Things have to be this certain way. My plans didn't happen the way I wanted them to. I didn't get into this college. I didn't get this job. My marriage, you fill in the blanks. Like everybody has troubles. It'll never be perfect, ever. But the biggest lie that we hear is sometimes the smallest whisper that's telling us that we're not enough, that we'll never this or we'll never that. We can't do this. I hate that word. I used to tell my kids, and even my bonus son now, who's 10, that can't is a bad word. We don't say that in my house because you literally make yourself, your subconscious believe you can't. You say I can't go to sleep, you're not gonna be able to sleep because you're telling yourself that. Like, so don't say can't.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. I love
But
that.
I wish I hadn't have found my identity in the things where I lived, how I dressed, and because it all blinds us from the truth. And that truth is that we all need a savior, right? We can't save ourselves, and we need to love others the way that Jesus loved us. And I know not everybody on this call is a believer, but that is the reality. And just I want to love on people. I just want to pour hope into them and love on them, and show them where I've come and where I'm at now, and that there is hope.
That's beautiful. And I think one thing that I find continually just so beautiful about the people that um, watch this show and interact in this way is the way we honor each other and each other's beliefs and what brought you through this unbelievable struggle was your faith. And absolutely, we're going to honor that. Right. And I'm just going to say this too. You say that you wish you hadn't had those kind of belief systems, the things, all of the whatever in the beginning, but I don't know, maybe without that part of you, the
Mhm.
revelation wouldn't have been the impact that it was. And the kind of push forward wouldn't have been there either. So, I mean, we all have these struggles for a reason, I think. And there you go, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, my
Um,
dear. Let's talk about the M25 initiative. I want to hear some details. I want to hear what made you start it. I know you've got some pillars that are really important to share. Let's hear about this.
okay,
Yeah.
so I've been an advocate for many things in my life, and in my career, and I notice that from working with others, um, places like that provided resources, Catholic charities, and I'm not downing on Catholic charities. I'm just naming them because it just comes to the top of my head.
Mhm.
But you go into their resource center or another resource center, and and they give you the resources, they give you the phone numbers, and or whatever it is that you need to do, and then you come back. Right? There's that constant. I depend on them now. I depend on them to help me find a job. I depend on them to help me with the resources. I depend on them for everything. What I've noticed is there's little to no accountability for some of these things, and getting yourself off of the support services. And these individuals, I love all of my support services and the people that work for them. They are absolutely incredible. I work very, very closely with a lot of them in our neck of the woods here, and they work really, really hard to support our community. But these individuals that are receiving these services depend on that, and like that's where we've got to break that cycle. Um, so I've had, like I've told my ex-husband, I've had everything and I've had nothing. Um, And I would rather feel love and have the love and support of my family and friends around me than not feel that at all, right? And that loneliness. You can have a big house and all the stuff in it and all this kind of stuff, but if you're alone, like what's it good for, right? Um, so I've had to depend on those services myself. But the difference in getting off of those services is that mindset change, that mindset shift. Um, I didn't want to have to depend on these services anymore. I wanted to be able to show my kids and now my grandbabies that they can do hard things too. And sometimes, they may need help, and that's what they're there for um, when we truly need them. And I thank God for them. But they are not there for, long-term use. And some people just don't know how to get past that. And so that's where the three main pillars of the M25 Initiative come in. It is all about your personal, your spiritual, and your occupational wellness. Personal and spiritual, occupational, and financial wellness. So I want you to think about a flower that you have in a pot on your windowsill, and it's dying. And for some people, they might want to just throw it away and get a new one, whatever. But for this, we're going to pretend that we care about that flower, right? Yeah. And so instead of just staring at it and watching it wither and die, we need to do something about it, right? So we're going to put it into a new environment, maybe plant it in the ground or a bigger pot with some new soil. Then we're going to give it some sunshine, and we're going to give it water, and we're going to care for it. And then we're going to see it start to grow those strong roots, right? And then it's going to start sprouting its own little babies. And then it's going to become this big, beautiful, strong flower that's now creating its own little environment with these really strong roots because you took care of it. So with the M25 Initiative, we want to do that with our individuals.
People. Yeah.
The wellness comes in. So when your roots get strong, you can stand on your own ground, right? But when you're withering, you need some support. You need some help. You need somebody to help care for you and provide that food, that water, that sunshine. So starting to surround yourself with other people in a different environment. When you're coming out of incarceration, sometimes you may be alone. You may need a place to stay. You may go back home to a toxic, difficult environment. So what we want to do is we want to build a support service around you so that people can help lift you up and pour into you that hope, because you're new and you're just like, I'm trying to do this on my own and I can't. I hate that word, but people just feel like they can't do it alone.
That's the belief a lot of times when people come out and they don't feel like anyone cares about them. There aren't services for them, or the services that are there, they can't find them, right? Or get to them, things like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
So we want to be there, when they're coming out of rehab or incarceration, and they don't even have to be in rehab or incarceration. We want it to be all inclusive. We want them to be able to come to us when they're hurting, when they're troubled, and they're going through things in their life. And we want to teach you those personal skills, that personal wellness piece where, building better habits, changing your mindset, starting to work on yourself personally and spiritually to make you a better version of yourself, so that you can make better decisions for yourself. So you have a better chance of success, to find a job or a career. But if you don't have a healthy mindset, you're going to struggle at your job, right?
Yeah.
You're going to struggle with communication. You're going to struggle with working with other people and teamwork. You're going to struggle with your time management. So we also teach those things, those soft skills that a lot of people, they just don't remember how to do it if they've been out of the game a while, or they were never taught those things, how to be a good employee. So instead of, trying to find another job after 6 months or getting fired or quitting constantly. It's important to be the best version of ourselves so
Yeah.
that we can be a better employee, right? Or if you're a business owner or manager, whatever, entrepreneur, so that you can be a better and whatever your career goals are. So, and then your financial piece, if we're not good stewards of our money, that leads to stress, right? Having to depend on support services like Medicaid and SNAP, and because we never learned how to budget, we never learned how to manage our money, or to save or to invest. They don't teach these things in schools, unfortunately. Um, and so I didn't learn these things in school. I didn't start learning these until I was in my later 30s. And when I hit 40, I was like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do like 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
What a gift you're
So,
providing this. Yeah.
right. So when we're working on ourselves personally, kind of employees or leaders, we want to be, and how we steward our money, it positively affects our marriage, our kids, and other relationships in life. We're now better able to manage our stressors and our addictions and are better prepared for the things that life may bring us and the challenges that are in our way. There will always, 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 always be cogs thrown in our will. But to try, or, but when we learn how to manage these things, these areas in our lives, and have mentors pour into us and teach us, we are much better equipped to deal with and overcome those challenges for sure.
I love that. Just a really all-inclusive wraparound. We're gonna mentor you, support you, teach you to stand on your own 2 feet.
To avoid that recidivism. I
Yeah.
didn't know what the word meant until I started this, and
Oh.
I've used that word more than I ever used in my life. But yeah, the recidivism, the reentry of crime. And so it is a real thing. And just a little fun fact, if you don't have the support services, when you come out of incarceration or rehab, you are 73% more likely to go right back in.
Yeah.
73%. That means 3 out of 4 people go
It's
right
yeah,
back.
because I mean, and that really does speak to how difficult reentry is when there aren't organizations like yours to teach these things and to support and mentor and all of those things. It's just to I mean, the prison experience itself, right? And maybe even rehab experience itself is, it is what it is. And then here you're just out on the street and, good luck to you. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And like you mentioned earlier, you can help the people who are in front of you, right? And my hope is that more organizations like yours, or maybe you branch out, um, beyond Reno too. But yeah, it's what a beautiful thing you've created, Keri.
Thank you. I
Just,
appreciate that.
yeah, yeah.
Like
So
I said, God put the math in my head. I just did it.
did it. You did
I
it. You're
led,
doing it.
or
Mhm.
he led me and I followed.
I love this so much. So we are, I just love talking to you so much, Keri. We're gonna go over a little bit. Are you
Oh,
okay?
okay.
Stay for a little
I'm
bit?
okay. I'm okay.
Beautiful. Okay. So I am going to open this up for questions in a little bit. So those who are here, use that Q&A box. You can find it at the bottom of your screen and type in any questions and we'll talk about those. Um, we've talked a little bit in the meantime, we've talked a little bit about some of the barriers to reentry, like how difficult those times are. Um, I would say let's give those who are watching and listening, if they have a loved one who's in a tough place, right? Whatever that tough place is, either
Mm.
reentry or whatever, what advice would you give a family member how to support someone trying to rebuild their life?
Yes. I would say be patient with them.
That's beautiful.
Everyone's
Yes.
process is different. No one recovers or rebuilds their life at the same pace as another person.
Mhm.
What worked for you might not work for someone else. Also, give them grace. We are all human and none of us are perfect. And lastly, I would say reach out for help. Maybe they don't know what to do or how to ask for help, or there maybe even be some shame in asking for help. Um, but I would also say that it may be an inconvenience to help somebody that you love because it's taking time out of your day. It's frustrating to be there for them. And yes, we have to set up healthy boundaries. I want to throw that out there. Everybody has to set up healthy boundaries.
Sure.
But the relationships that we have and the love that we show each other is far more important at the end of the day than the things that we miss out on because they're just things. So I struggle with FOMO, fear of missing out,
Mhm.
just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But I have to tell myself that this is just temporary, but the impact that I can make on someone that I care about is forever.
Mhm.
And they may even help somebody else in the future because of what you've done for them.
Yeah.
So just remember that when you are in the trenches, because I have been there and just recently been there. Um, and so, like helping a family member out or somebody that you love or care about is so much more important than everything else. Healthy
Yeah.
boundaries, healthy boundaries.
Yes. Well, and I guess maybe I can just take a moment and speak to that too, and a little bit of what you've been talking about here. Some people watching this, I'm not sure if you're aware, Keri, that my son spent some time in prison as well. And when he came out of prison, I had in my mind what supporting him through reentry looked like. And it was kind of narrow. And I want my son to come back home to mom and live with me, and I'll take care of everything and whatever. And my husband said, maybe not, right? And we had to talk about what was best for him, what was best for me, what was best for my son, what was best for my marriage, and how, what are some creative ways that I could support my son that did not involve a person in their, mid 20s coming to live with mom, right?
Right.
And so when you say, everyone's um, path is different, everyone kind of comes through this in their own time and way, those kinds of things, I would encourage, like, let's not get hung up on this is what support looks like, right? And I need to give up all of myself in order to support my loved one, right? Those healthy boundaries that you mentioned. And ultimately, we found a beautiful way to support him through reentry that did not involve living with mom. Right?
Awesome.
It was
Yay.
so much better for him, and he's doing so amazing, right? And it is possible. And I just so to piggyback on what you said with healthy boundaries is be creative and be a little fluid and rely on other people's suggestions and people like you, Keri, who have such a beautiful way of helping and supporting, right? So, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
glad to hear that your son's doing well.
oh my gosh, he's doing so amazing. He got his like dream job a week after getting out of prison, and he got two jobs right out of the gate and was able to pick, I want to do this. And so, yeah, he's been doing really well. And I think to your point too, people were put in his life
Mhm.
that have supported him, and he's chosen to surround himself with them. And so a lot of it is choices he's making, and a lot of it is, yeah, there's some divine intervention here. The people that are in his life, where we don't live in the same state, even he lives in Colorado, I'm here in Nevada, and it's, yeah, yeah, I'm always going to worry about him. All three of my kids, right? Of course we will, but he's surrounded himself with some really great people. So yeah, yeah. So let's talk about those who want to help and support you and what you're doing and getting involved. Let's talk about ways that we can do that. Yeah, what's the best way to do that, Keri?
So, we need the support of our community to continue to be able to do the work that we do. We're already in it, but we need to be able to continue to fund it so that we can grow and we can help even more people.
Mhm.
We also need volunteers to help with building like our Shopify store, to help get the word out, and resources, like delivery of groceries, meeting people at their basic needs. If you go to our website, you can actually click on the Get Involved Now to get more information on volunteering, or you can click on Donate Now to be able to give. You can also scroll down on the homepage and choose how you like to give. So, for example, if you want to give directly to the Catfish Kickstart program, and the link, thank you for putting that in there, m25nv.org. The Catfish Kickstart program actually helps individuals that are coming right out of incarceration or homelessness to be able to provide a place to stay, some clothes, meeting you at your basic needs, and helping you find a job so that you can get right on with your life, right? Um, and Teddy Craig spent 22 years in prison. He is my business partner, and he started the Catfish Kickstart program, and we have partnered together to make this happen. He's an incredible human being.
Mm.
And so I just want to throw that out there. He's pretty awesome. But
Awesome.
uh, you can also click on things like supporting an individual for our Finding Purpose Wellness Workshop. You can click on Feed a Family, which will provide food for a family. And there's several other links that you can go to click on if you want your donations to go directly to that specific program.
Beautiful. And what amazing programs you just named, Keri. I mean, you're not just thinking it. You're doing it. Workshops, feeding people, clothing people. You're in it.
Yeah, we're in it.
I love that so much. You are working so hard, and you launched last year. So
Mhm.
we're just saying that like you hit the ground running.
We
Yeah.
launched in November, filed for our 501(c)(3) in January, and it's
Mm.
just been an incredible ride.
My goodness. My goodness. Okay, so let's look at the other side of this. If someone is struggling right now,
Mhm.
someone's facing addiction or reentry, just got out, right? Or feeling hopeless, what would you say to them? How can you help them?
Absolutely. So I would say there is hope. Don't give up. Please seek help. And if you don't know where to go, you can literally call or text me and I will help direct you. My number is literally on the homepage of my website. You can text that number as well. So no matter what you're going through, our God is so much bigger than anything that you're facing. He can pull you through that. Sometimes we are so resistant to receiving or accepting help, but I want to let you know that your life matters and you were created for a purpose. I'm no longer who I told myself I was, or who I saw myself as. But it was Keri, who's been divorced, a failure as a mom, gave up on her business, attempted suicide, homeless, struggled with addiction, lived on welfare. I'm no longer any of those things. I am saved by grace and I have a new life. I am loved. I am worthy. I'm a child of God. I've been created for a purpose and my life has value. That is who I am now. And no matter who you are or what you've done or who you believe, what you believe in, God loves you and we love you here at the M25 Initiative and we want to pour life into you.
Mm. Oh, I love that. I love
Thank you.
that so much. Yeah. Thank you
I
for
mean
that.
it.
I know you do. I can see it. I can see it in you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's close with this. Tell us what you've got coming up and how people can find you. We got the website. I'll put the website and your number in the show notes, so just we know that. But yeah, where can we find you in the community? What's going on?
So I'm part of Compassion Business Network. We have some events coming up. They will be on the website shortly in the next couple of weeks. We are launching a paint and sip in April. We're launching a resource fair this summer. We have some ACEs baseball tickets that we're going to be giving out. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming up starting in April. So just keep a lookout for those things. We will be posting those on Eventbrite and on the M25 website. So there's a lot of exciting things coming up.
That's amazing. Oh, I can't. Yes, I'm going to be spending some time on your site watching. And good for you, Keri. I know you're always up to something. In fact, you've got something coming up in the morning, don't you?
Yes,
What's
I
going on?
do. So I will be at the state legislature having a senator announce the M25 Initiative and the Catfish Kickstart program at the assembly, on the assembly floor. Like it's a big deal. So like you literally can't cross that blue carpet into the assembly unless you are invited by a senator.
Mm,
And the M25 Initiative has been invited. So I will be there at 9 o'clock in the morning and having the Senate announce the M25 Initiative. So it's getting out there,
big
and
deal.
it's making moves, big waves.
Yes, you're making moves. Good job.
Thank
Good
you.
job, Keri. I am honored to share this space with you. Thank you so much for sharing your story and being so open and the incredible work that you're doing. Just thank you so much for that. Your journey is truly inspiring, and I know it was a stretch for you to share in such a public way. And I'm deeply appreciative of what you're doing and who you're serving and all of it. So yeah.
Just that my story can help someone else.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I'm just excited to be here. And thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's it then. Keri, thank you so much for your time tonight. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Good night, everyone.
Good night.